It is standard practice to frame global strategy as a noble pursuit, the necessary mechanics of maintaining peace and stability. But examine the actual ledgers. These maneuvers are consistently driven by the extraction of regional resources and the transactional purchasing of military alliances. The architects of these policies operate in heavily sanitized environments, thousands of miles removed from the friction of the resulting conflicts. Borders are drawn across topographical maps, cleanly dividing territories with zero regard for the complex populations living inside them. On paper, shifting a territorial line or imposing an embargo is a logical calculation. On the ground, it severs supply chains and displaces entire communities overnight. The sterile environment of the boardroom acts as an intellectual anesthetic. It effectively isolates the decision-maker from the physical reality of their directives. Step outside those rooms, and the physical fallout becomes impossible to ignore. Industrial and ecological systems degrade rapidly under prolonged siege. When blockades restrict the import of basic filtration equipment, clean water immediately becomes a scarce commodity. This localized damage targets those with zero agency in the conflict. The youngest populations always bear the immediate brunt of collapsing infrastructure. Simultaneously, the geopolitical policies that create the crisis often paralyze the international aid organizations trying to fix it, trapping millions of people in place. The direct result is massive civilian displacement. Entire cities are replaced by temporary tent settlements that stretch to the horizon. Every abstract calculation balanced on a geopolitical ledger equals an unmanageable humanitarian crisis on the ground. This collapse accelerates as local markets empty out. Supply lines freeze, hyperinflation takes hold, and the local currency rapidly devolves into worthless paper. Alongside modern infrastructure, centuries of a region's cultural and historical heritage are permanently erased in the crossfire. Communication networks are severed. Hospitals experience total blackouts, failing the exact moment their backup generators run out of fuel. Amidst the wreckage, displaced civilians attempt the impossible task of maintaining commercial normalcy in the ruins of their neighborhoods. The vast complexities of foreign policy ultimately distill down to a single, devastating metric: the severe malnutrition of a targeted population. This is the direct physical recipient of those high-level strategic maneuvers, a child forced to endure the devastating consequences of our calculated ambition. The only accurate measure of these detached policies is the hyper-specific grief they inflict on the most vulnerable. Eventually, the distance between the decision-maker and the devastation collapses. The psychological insulation of power always degrades, forcing leaders to project the human cost of their commands onto their own legacies. Continuous warfare and the unchecked extraction of resources yield diminishing returns. A fractured, burning world cannot be forcefully engineered into submission. Breaking this cycle requires abandoning the mechanics of conquest and choosing the difficult, unglamorous labor of genuine diplomacy. Expand the view, and the entirety of this geopolitical struggle occurs on a single, fragile planet, suspended in a silent vacuum. History rarely validates leaders based on the temporary power they manage to acquire. It judges them by the permanent ruins they leave behind.